what about so if you're talking to the perpetrator, what about the victim of the domestic violence? When you feel this burden now to protect them, at the risk of screwing up your friendship now, because if you betray them betray that trust. So because you talked about the time frames may be different. I mean, yeah, they were ready to talk, but they're not ready to shift, or they're not ready to go the next step yet. Oops. What would you say? What would you say? Yeah. What, I mean, would you, in that first outreach call, knowing that denial and let's erase the conversation could happen, would you insert a sentence into that first conversation to make that a difficult place to go back from? For example, something like, hey, by the way, thank you for having this conversation with me. It's been a pretty tough conversation, I think, for you and for me, but I really acknowledge and appreciate the fact that you've had it. In a couple of days' time, you might wish that we didn't have this conversation. And I just want to assure you that I'm here for you anyway. But I do want to address this again when we do next speak. Something like that. I'm making this up.
Absolutely.
Or is there something that is there a next step that you're going to do that I can maybe hold you accountable for the next time we talk? I mean, I don't know if that's valuable, but.
Oh, it is. It absolutely is. So a call to action could be getting agreement around how or where you raise the next discussion. So getting permission to say, hey, is it okay next week if I can talk to you about this again? It's just something as simple as that. So then you can keep those lines of communication open, and so then you can say next week when they go, denial, you can say, hey, remember the conversation we had, and you can bring it up and just say, look, we had this agreement. Is it okay to talk to you now, or would you prefer me to talk to you about it tomorrow? So don't give them an out, but just give them a couple of options in terms of, because it might be that in that moment that they're feeling really fragile. It might be in that moment that they know that a child is about to walk in the door from school and they don't want to get into a big conversation right now. So it's just about checking in too, in terms of it might be a convenient time for us to talk, but it might not be for them. So the real reason might not be actually around the denial of the conversation as such. It might be a timing issue or a location issue, so it's just checking in about those sorts of things too.